Hi everyone, good morning guys. Welcome to our Friday weekly AMAS Ask Me Any Stock session, guys. Just do us a favor, just type a GM for good morning guys in the chat. I think some of you have already joined us. Just type GM in the chat. Let us know if you can hear me loud and clear. You can also see our screen, all right, in terms of my slides over here. Just type GM for good morning. Let me just go to acknowledge all of you for just being early. Thank you so much, Harish, GM, John, Ivan, thank you so much as well. Hi, Lihan, good to see you here as well. Good morning, thank you. Let's see, Celia, good morning. Hi, awesome. Seems a lot of you have joined us and you're early. Esther, Yang Zijiang, some of you are even typing the stocks that you want. Step by step, later we'll definitely cover it. I will try our best to cover. Good morning, Collab. Hi, ST. Andy, a question, right? ST Engineering, let's see if we can cover that as well. Sets. Very good. Good morning. Hi, William Samudera. All right. Very good. Good morning, everyone. So welcome to our Friday weekly Ask Me Any Stock session. So today we'll be talking about the Singapore market, right? The Singapore market. Essentially, we'll be doing a quick market outlook. I think all of you know what has happened last night. All right. One of the worst sell down in like 5 years. We'll do a quick market outlook, and of course, because we have seen quite a heavy sell down last night, we are going to cover maybe the S&P 500 index just to give a little bit of perspective of what has happened in the US market. And then we'll dive into the STI, Singapore's Straits Times Index. All right, so today will be for the Singapore market. And then after that, you can let us know what are some of the Singapore stocks that you want a quick opinion on, whether to buy, to sell, to hold, to wait, to do nothing, not too sure. Just type in the chat, right, the names that you want, and just give us, as I mentioned, any of all our Ask Me Any Stock session as well, to give us a bit of context in terms of the reason for the stock that you put in the chat, right? You don't just put like SIA or DBS, but a little bit of context so we understand a bit better. We will give a bit more priority to those of you, our attendees, who actually give us a bit of context, a bit more details, like you bought this stock last month, last year you thought of selling but never sell or something, all right? Just a bit of context, right? Or you want to buy but you don't know when to buy, or you sold and then you want to buy back, whatever, right? So once you have a bit of context, then we know what you want to do. Then we are better able to advise a little bit clearer. Does it make sense? All right, so give you a context. Don't just type the name there, but I don't know what is it about. All right, so that's what I want to do. And at the end of this Ask Me Any Stock live session, guys, what happens is that me, Bervyn and Zee, all right, my team of mentors, will each share one Singapore stocks that we like. So three of us, so there'll be three Singapore stocks that you want to put in your watch list that could potentially be even more upside. We may have covered them previously in our previous AMAS sessions, but they still look good as well. So you stay all the way to the end, or I stay all the way to the end if you want to find out about these three stocks that you can put in your watch list. All right. So how many of you want me to go into cover the market? Just type M for markets, guys. If you want me to go into cover the markets in a bit, just type M for markets. Let's see, right? Chi Sing, good morning as well. All right, OCBC, let's see if we can cover that as well. Good to see you here as well, Chi Sing. Some of you are very familiar with our Friday weekly AMAS session, all right, and joining us every week. Thank you so much for the support, guys. All right, really good to see a lot of familiar names like Chi Sing, Jerome, Sebastian. Good to see you here as well. All right, yeah, let's try to cover that as well. Okay, so markets, Bat Guan, Ellen, Celia markets as well. So let's do a little bit on covering the markets in a bit, right? Jimmy, what should we do in the market condition? Good question. We'll cover that for sure. All right, and let me move on to the next part, whereby I want to introduce my team of mentors to you. So if you have not met me before, all right, my name is Joey Choy, top tier retail trader in Phillip Securities, and I've been doing this for more than a decade now, more than 15 years to be exact. One of the top brokers in Phillip Securities. And I have my team here as well. So I've been, conducting, not just as a broker, but I conduct training as well, teaching my graduates and mentees. And we also run what we call a portfolio management business as well with my team. All right. So yeah, pretty much teaching my one good trend strategy. And I have my team right over here called Bervyn, one of my mentors as well. Bervyn has been with me for 4 to 5 years, one of the top brokers under me in Phillip Securities, conducting our group coaching sessions, our one-on-one coaching for our mentees, and also assisting our portfolio manager with the portfolio management business as well, right? And also for those of you who don't know, Bervyn, he is a CFA chartered holder, all right, chartered financial analyst. Those of you who are in the financial institution space, the banking space, this is one of the highest qualification one can ever get, right? So Bervyn, maybe just share a few words before we begin today's session.
All right, thanks Joey for the introduction. Hi, good morning everybody. Very very nice to see like those familiar names like Joey had mentioned coming back to join us every Friday for our weekly Ask Me Any Stock session. So today we are covering the Singapore market. I think the US market dropped a little bit last night, but I don't think we are in panic mode just yet. Okay, so I would like to just remind everybody to just help us to like, share, and then subscribe to the YouTube channel if you are on YouTube, so we can also reach out to more people as well to provide more value. And we hope to continue to provide value every Friday to you guys that join us as well. All right, so there's a quick one for me. Maybe I pass it back to Joey.
Okay, thank you so much, Bervyn. All right. Yeah, so guys, remember to like and share, especially if you have not yet followed our channel, subscribe to the channel. So we are live on Facebook and YouTube as well. So depending on where you're logged on, all right, make sure you follow, you subscribe so that when we go live in the future, you will not miss out. All right, so go ahead to do that right now. There should be a notification bell icon at the top. Click on it so that you will be alerted. All right, so let me go to introduce another of my mentors, Zee. All right, Zee has been with me for more than 4 to 5 years now, one of the top brokers under me in Philip Securities, conducting our group coachings, one-on-one coachings our mentees, assisting our portfolio manager as well with portfolio management service. And Zee is a chartered market technician, right? CMT to be short. Anything to do with technical analysis, to do with charting, patterns, candlestick, whatever. Zee is the go-to expert. She and Bervyn as well, both of them are very well versed in my one good trend strategy. All right, so Zee, maybe just say a few words today.
All right, thanks Joey for the introduction. Hi everyone, my name is Zee. Super excited to be here today. We are here every Friday, right, to do the Ask Me Any Stocks, and today will be Singapore market, right? So the thing is that I really enjoy breaking down things, right, from very complex to something that's simple, and especially when we are looking at the charts, which is later because we will be live for about 1.5 hours to probably about 2 hours, right? Which later we will actually go through a round robin style whereby Joey will cover some stock, then after that followed by Bervyn, and then followed by me, right? And we'll try to cover as many stocks as possible. And this is where you can actually see how the 1GT Pro indicator, right, can actually make your trading journey, less intimidating, and it's more simple to understand and give you a quick opinion on when to enter and exit as well. All right, so super glad that you guys are here, and I hope to see more of you guys back in our future session. So, all right, back to Joey to kick things off today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Zee. All right. So, yeah, I think Zee mentioned a really good point as well. All right. So, later when we go through the analysis, even on the markets, right, we'll not just be analyzing purely manually and stuff, but essentially, I have this 1GT, one good trend pro indicator, right? But it's based on my one good trend strategy and how, based on this indicator, we are able to have an opinion, right, on any stocks, any asset class. I mean, today we're talking about Singapore stocks, but it works for any stocks, any asset classes. In seconds, you get a quick opinion whether to buy or sell based on the bullish, all right, green signals, or even maybe a bearish red signal. So we'll cover that, all right? We will look at your stocks based on this indicator, all right? Okay, so let's me go on right now. Just a quick disclaimer, guys. Whatever that's being shared today by me, Bervyn and Zee, just for education purposes only, all right? It's not to ask you to buy or sell, or not to buy or not to sell, all right? Please do your own due diligence, your own homework, very important. All right, so this is a quick disclaimer that we have to share. So let's get started right now. And since a lot of you asked to cover the markets, let me quickly talk about the S&P 500 index. So normally we'll just cover the STI directly because today is a Singapore session, right? Singapore market session. But I thought, why not just go through the S&P 500 index? As a lot of you have been following the markets last night, this morning when you wake up, you see all the news. Well, we have sold off quite badly, more than 4%. All right, Dow Jones more than 4% as well. And let's go through. So before I talk about technically what's happened for the markets, well, let me just, I think all of you should know that, but let me just give a quick run through what some of the factors that have seen caused the markets to sell down quite heavily. Well, essentially over the past few days, Donald Trump has imposed slapped a baseline 10% tariffs of all imports coming into the US. So even Singapore got affected as well, 10% tariffs on Singapore. That's the baseline, all right? And that has triggered a lot of uncertainty in the market because all this while people are just thinking maybe some countries, maybe not, maybe, and it will not be that drastic, but now it's baseline, all countries, 10% baseline tariffs, all right? And many of these countries are maybe even thinking to take what we call retaliatory action. So 10% baseline tariffs. And for Donald Trump, what he mentioned was some of the countries is more than 10%. 10% is just the baseline, all right? Some they call it what we call the reciprocal tariffs, like China, all right, whereby Donald Trump introduced, previously was 20%, now plus another 34%. So it's like 20 plus 34 is like 54% tariffs, right? And China has vowed to take, countermeasures and considering to maybe even take retaliatory action. So that is where it's caused a lot of uncertainty, all right? And many of those countries as well, they're all deliberating whether to take actions, to negotiate. Singapore is going to negotiate, all right? Italy is going to negotiate. EU might take, retaliatory actions. So this is what we call a lot of uncertainty, because there's what we call a tit for tat kind of approach. If many of these countries take retaliatory actions, well, it might escalate the entire situation, right, into what we call a trade war. All right, once there's a trade war, it affects the entire global economy. Talk about recession and all that. Well, not good, right? And that's where the market started to sell. So basically, on this whole entire tariff news, you can just Google it. All right, just type tariffs or US market sell down. I think you see all that. All right, so that is essentially the news that's affecting the market. And we're starting to see strength in some of the more defensive sector, maybe even the REITs as well, real estate investment trust. Gold has pushed up to multi-year highs. It's seen as a safe haven asset as well. REITs, why are they pushing up slightly higher? Well, because what happens, because now there are recession fears. And recession fears, there are talks also about what we call the Federal Reserve cutting rates, right? They want to cut rates like since last year, right? And they paused it for a few months already, but now because of recession fear, they might need to cut rates a bit faster, right? To hopefully don't, stir up the recession, all right? So, and that's where some of the REITs might benefit as well. So, you see strength in some of the REITs as well, all right? So, that is pretty much the news that's been affecting the markets, all right? So, let me go ahead, guys, just to cover very quickly on the S&P 500 index. So, S&P 500 index, right? The US market, obviously, we covered it last Friday. So, alternately, all right? I mean, basically not alternate, but basically every alternate week, we'll cover the US and Singapore. So last Friday was US, this Friday, Singapore, next Friday, back to US. But I thought very quickly, since we sold off quite heavily, let's find out what has happened, right? Why are we selling down? Well, for the S&P 500 index that makes up that tracks pretty much the top 500 companies, in the US, we got actually two bearish signals coming out, not just last week or last month. In fact, since like February, all right, we already have some bearish, not one, but two bearish signals. The 20 days moving average line, short-term trend turned down. Is it still pointing down? Yes, it's still pointing down. So you have been following me over the past like one over a month, all right, Ask Me Any Stock session, or maybe in our group coaching session, if you are a graduate of mine. I've been always saying that we are still not out of the woods, all right? We could potentially still see more downside. We are, be patient, right? Is it time to get in? Be patient. I've been saying that, and then you can check out our replays. But why? Well, essentially because we have got bearish signals. And if you ask me right now, is the trend down in the short term? The answer is yes, right? It's still yes. Green line is still pointing down. In fact, yesterday you can see we sold off quite badly, closed at 5396, quite a bearish candle, and we broke down. Okay, let me just draw this line for you. The 5,500 level. So 5,500, you can see, right? Since like maybe in March, for about a month, we rebounded. Last week, we rebounded. So 5,000 would be what we call a psychological support level. But yesterday, I mean, based on all these 10% tariffs, baseline, whatever, pump, gone through, down, below. We went below the 5,500, all right? And we have seen even more selling. So not a good thing, I would say. Are we still out of the woods? Well, I would say that we can still see more weakness in the short term because 5,500 have been broken. So the next question would be that, hey, Joey, where could the next support level be for the entire market, right? I mean, where could we hit to? Then hopefully some bargain hunting can come back. Well, let's find out, right? Let's see right over here. I would say that the next potential support level would be somewhere around the 5,200. Let me just draw it for you right over here. Why 5,200? Well, you can see that was where just last year we rebounded a pretty bullish candle. It was a bit of a resistance. We got a bullish signal from a 1GT Pro indicator, all the way in. Bearish signal came all the way down, respected the same resistance and support, and off we go all the way up. So you can see right now, are we slowly heading there? Well, it seems like we are indeed heading towards the next support around the 5,200 level, right? So that is potentially a next support. Doesn't mean you draw this line means you surely go there and then you rebound from there. No, right? We might consolidate, we might hit down slowly, we might just near it. But that is where, based on what we've seen previously, all right, it could be potentially and hopefully where some good buying pressure can come back, right? So that is the S&P 500 index. So essentially, right, this is the S&P 500 index, and as I mentioned just now, Z mentioned as well, we have this one GT Pro indicator, and we actually use this to look at any stocks, any asset classes. Straight away we have turned it on, but you can see that if I turn everything off, all right, based on this one GT Pro indicator, well, it is just a blank chart. Right, like this. I mean, most people just look at a blank chart like this. I mean, you can draw some lines if you want, but most people look at a blank chart like this. And what do you do? Even me, I find it hard to look at a blank chart. I mean, I probably have to draw some lines and stuff. But with an indicator, just by turning on a few things, look at this, pump, right? There we go, right? We see bullish signals coming out. We see bearish signals coming out, telling us to be careful, to wait, to be patient, to not get in. And that's what we do, all right? So when should we get in? Well, when we see a bullish signal, like for example, previously, right? We got, so now today, I mean, not today, but over the past 1-2 months, we got 2 bearish signals. So previously, if you look at it right over here, this has not happened like only past one over year or happened only recently, right? It has happened for over the past few years as well. You can see that we do have bearish signals coming out as well. Look at it. It was in August 2023. Got 2 more bearish signals, and down we went. What do we want to wait for? Well, we want to wait for this, right? The 1 GT bullish signal coming out. The green 20 days moving average lines flattening out and starting to point up. And there we go, all the way up. All right. Has it happened yet? Can we take this and take from here and then maybe paste to here? Well, I don't know, right? But if we do see a bullish signal coming out, the short-term trend turns up, reverses back up as another confirmation, that could be finally a bottom being found, a signal that could lead the reversal. Does it make sense so far? All right, so that's the S&P 500, right? Pretty much just a quick run through of what has happened over the past few days due to the tariffs, recession fears, and all that. So now let me go into talk about the STI, which is pretty much the topic for today's presentation, right? The Singapore market. So Singapore market, to be honest, right, US has been selling down over the past 1-2 months. But actually, if you look at the Singapore market, right, the STI, Straits Times Index, we have been pretty resilient, right? In fact, we've been pushing higher. All right. And of course, last night, everything came down. So, got affected as well. So today we have sold down as well. You can see, right? STI is now down about 60, 70 points. So you can see that we actually have a 1 GT bearish signal. So this is live. I mean, only like a few minutes today, but it's good. Now you can see that today we got a 1 GT bearish signal finally popping up, right? Why? Because the US market has sold off, right? And definitely will be impacted as well. So let's go to see what has happened. I would say that, I can go to draw this resistance at this very clear psychological level, the 4,000. So 4,000 is a very key psychological resistance level. It seems like we are still hard pressed to break above it. It might take a while because now market is a bit more negative, more bearish. Not so simple that you can break a resistance and just push up and up. Not really. All right, market's a bit more bearish. So each time you hit the resistance, selling pressure comes back. We might see a bit of consolidation below it before it attempts to break even higher. All right, so you can see we have retrace or push back from this 4,000 psychological resistance. Support-wise, let me go to analyze to see where could be the next support. Well, I would say support could come in anywhere from 3,007. You can see 3,007 was where we were in November. So supported quite well, rebounded. Couple of bullish signals. This was in August. Look at this, a bullish signal in August, all the way up. Another one in April, all the way up. So yeah, another bullish signal in February as well, went all the way up, but came back down. So I would say right now, maybe 3,007 to 3,008 could be potential support levels whereby we might start to see some bargain hunting. So that's a very key level because you can see that was where we have rebounded from. Couple of bullish reversal candles happening right over here as well. All right. So short-term wise for STI, unfortunately, because of last night, what has happened in the US, we may still see a bit of weakness. All right. It could be 1 more week, maybe 2 more weeks. All right. Let it stabilize. Let it go towards a support level. That's where I think that could, it could be a good thing as well, right? To be honest, it could be a good thing as well because sometimes when prices drop, it gives you an opportunity to actually get in at lower, more attractive prices. So it actually can be a good thing. if you know what to get in when the time comes. Does it make sense? But of course, if you don't know, then a bit no point. But if you know what to get in when the time comes, not today, not tomorrow, over the next few weeks, when we see a lot of attractive opportunities pop up, that would be a good thing. All right. So, and that's pretty much what we'll cover today as well. All right, we'll give you an idea on the stocks that you want a quick opinion. Hopefully, they could be good, attractive opportunities in the next 1 to 2 weeks. All right. Okay. So that is pretty much the market. How many of you are a little bit clearer already? This type C for clearer, guys. If you're a bit clearer on what are some of the levels affecting the markets, not just on the STI, but also the S&P 500 index, before we cover the Singapore stocks that you want a quick opinion on, right? Just type C for clearer. If you're clearer, let me know. Thank you so much. We have Chester, C, Lehan, clearer as well, clearer. All right, George, clearer. Thank you so much. All right, so very good. Let me go ahead now to cover the stocks that you guys are asking about. So I think a lot of you have already, type in the name of the stocks. Let me just go to run through very quickly. So what happens is this, guys, we'll go on to talk about the stocks that you want a quick opinion on, right? We'll turn on the 1GT Pro indicator very quickly. Round robin, I'll go first. I'll pass on the mic to Bervyn and then Zee, and then it's back to me very quickly. All right, and let's go to do it right now. So very simple. I'm going to cover. Let me just choose. Let me just choose one more. All right. Okay, let's see. Liang Heng, SATS, right? Rolf asking about SATS as well. So 2% asking about SATS services. So maybe I can do SATS first. Why not just do SATS first? All right. Okay, let me just go into SATS first. All right. So SATS, SATS. Let's take a look at it. Where is it? Right. There we go. SATS. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at SATS right now. So what do you guys think about SATS? So as I say, guys, I mean, I have this 1GT Pro indicator, in a matter of seconds, pump on it, pump off it. There we go. Let me just turn it on very quickly. So we had some bearish signals coming out, right, for SATS services since December, not this last month, since December, quite long already, like even before this tariff thing come out. All right. Another bearish signal in January. All right. And we go even faster lower. That was like about 380. Now it's 284. About $1 cheaper already. So what do you guys think? Should we think about buying SATS? I would say probably not. Roth, I'm not too sure. So as I say, guys, when you type the name of the stocks, right, what you could do is to help us out a little bit, right? Don't just type the name of like SATS there, but perhaps give us a bit of an idea, right? I am looking to buy. I don't know. Should I get out? When should I get in? Something like that. So we know what's your intention, all right? But there's a name there. I also don't know what you want to do with SATS. Maybe you have bought like 5 years ago or 10 years ago, or maybe last month. I also don't know, all right? So I hope that helps, right? Type in the name of the chat, but give us a bit of context so we can advise a little bit better. So this is SATS. Assume that you have bought previously. I think probably not want to buy because we have some bearish signals. You can see it starts coming down. And over the past few days, unfortunately, we have broken down the $3 support level, psychological support level today. Of course, even went down more. So not good, right? Anything below $3, can we see more selling? Yes, we can see more selling, all right? Bearish signals. The short-term trend since December also pointing down. Look at the green line pointing down. Is it still pointing down? Yes, still pointing down. So, we don't want to buy. All right, so I'm not too sure whether you're looking to buy, but if it's about to buy, it's probably not want to buy. All right, we want to only get in when we see like this, right? Some bullish signals coming out. Look at it, pump. There we go. So we got bearish. Can see came down in January last year. Wait for it. Another bearish signal went sideways a bit. What do you want to wait for? Wait for this lah. Right, wait for this. The bullish signals coming out. The green 20 days moving average line pointing up. Yes, there we go. All right. So has it came out yet? Today, obviously not. I mean, next week, I also don't know. I think probably not, all right, because it's like going lower. All right, so I think we just want to be a bit more careful because we are indeed seeing selling for this, not just because of these tariffs, but since a few months back. All right, okay, so normally we try not to hold a stock that is weak, that the trend is down in the longer term, in the short term, bearish signals comes out. And if I can quickly turn on what we call this trailing support and resistance. So you can see, right? Since the bearish signals came out, a trailing resistance have popped out. So this trailing resistance, just to give you guys an idea, it follows the stock as it goes down, giving it space that it needs to maybe go lower. Does it make sense? All right. So if you're below it, and it goes down, it follow you more down. You can see now it's like going to follow it down even more. Well, not so good. It means that we are still not out of the woods. We could still be even more bearish. All right. So this is sad. Seems like it's a bit more weak for now. Probably not want to buy until we see some clear signs of a reversal. All right, so very good. That's the first stock I covered. Let me pass on the mic to Bervyn to cover the next Singapore stock. Go ahead, Bervyn.
Thanks, Joey. Okay, so I think the next stock I will go through. Let me just remove this. Just add this to the screen. All right. Okay, I think Sky was asking about Comfortdelgo. Okay, Comfortdelgo. I think after the past, I think 2-3 weeks, we are back at that level, that key 150 level. So I'm thinking, or I'm guessing what you're asking is approaching that resistance. Is it time to sell? Then time to put some money in the pocket, enjoy the weekend. Yes, I think it is completely okay to sell close to the resistance, to put some money in your pocket, to reduce some exposure, as well as if you're afraid there is market weakness that's going to happen. I think, yeah, that's fine. But I think one other level that you actually maybe just want to take a little bit of a note of would be this temporary support level of around 145 there, about the 144, 145 level. I think the prices could find a temporary support there if it hits downwards further. So we also have this 1GT bullish signal that had actually came out, I think, right around the early of March. So could there be more upside above this 150? Possibly, because if we just were to do a simple projection and prices finally able to break above that 150 level, I think prices could head towards that 155, maybe close to that 160 level. Potentially, that is where the next upside could be. So Sky, if you are thinking to actually sell, take some profits, maybe you can consider a partial profit taking. Don't have to immediately let go of the entire position, to leave yourself a little bit of exposure for the upside as well. So let me just turn on this trailing support at the same time. You can see that the trailing support is definitely below that price at this point. But as prices, or if prices are able to say break above that 150, like I've said, this trailing of support will start to head higher as well. I don't know how the pattern will look like, but it will start to head higher. So I think this trailing support gives you a good buffer, where if you are placing your stop limit orders below that trailing support to lock in profits as you ride up the uptrend, or you continue to ride that uptrend, I think this is one way you can extend out your profits at the same time. But just be very, very careful. Perhaps if right now you are thinking unsure whether if you want to sell immediately, maybe just a stop limit order under that temporary support would also be fine, to at least help you to lock up some profits if prices indeed U-turn. So I think very, very simple one for Comfortdelgo. Maybe I pass on to Z for the next stock.
All right, thanks, Bervyn. Okay, so let me just share my screen. Okay, so I saw Esther is asking about Yang Zijiang shipping, right? Whether to hold or to sell. Let's take a look at this stock, okay? Okay, so from the start of the year 2024, all the way until at the start of this year, right? The stock looks pretty okay, right? Because the uptrend is pretty much still intact. But only somewhere in, I don't know if you guys actually recall, somewhere at the start of March, that is where we actually had a knee-jerk reaction, right? Because the US actually, proposed these fees of up to $1.5 million for Chinese-built vessels, right, entering the US port. So when actually this kind of things, additional fees, it will actually impact the company's business. So that's why we actually see some knee-jerk reaction right over here at the start of March, as well as the earnings actually came out, right? And this is also where we saw 1GT bearish signal coming out, right? So at this point in time, when the 1GT signal came out until where we are at, right, it is about a drop of 34% already. And at this point in time, there is still no 1GT bullish signal yet, right? So Esther, I'm not too sure where you actually bought into this stock, but I do hope that you actually have a trading plan in place when you actually buy into this stock, because if you actually buy somewhere at the high, I hope you have already, gotten out some, reduce your exposure, gotten out some position already, right? But if let's say you have not done anything, right? At this point, let's take a look, okay? Let's take a look, because right now price is actually trading at about 2.17, right? So let's see, okay? So right over here, can we actually spot some areas, right, whereby buyers actually rebounded from, right? Okay, let's see. One is here. Okay, let me just zoom in. Second one is over here, right? You see this long lower shadow, And then right over here as well, this super long lower shadow and over here. So with this, can we actually draw a support level? I would say yes, we can actually draw a rough support level right over here, because this is where we actually see multiple times buyers actually came back, right? So, but this, if this is a support level, right? Today, price actually opened just right at this support level, and right now it's actually trading below this support level right over here, right? Now it's at 217. You know, this support level, it could be around 223, 224, right? So not so good, right? So this support level at this point in time, it has turned to what we call a resistance, right? It has turned to what we call a resistance. And also, if we look at the trend, that means we look at the moving averages. So 20 days moving average, right? It's still pointing down, right? It is still, if I zoom in a little bit more, we can see that this green line is actually still pointing down. And if you look at the longer term trend as well, the red line doesn't look that great as well, because this is the 100 days moving average. It has also, you know, since this end of February, right, it has been sloping downwards, right? And in terms of the blue line, it kind of like just flattening out. So in terms of the short term trend and the longer term trend, at this point in time, it also doesn't look that great, right? So if prices today did not hold above this 224, right? It did not rebound and hold above this 224. Potentially what we might see is more weakness for this particular counter. And where can the potential weakness head towards, right? So let's see. So the next level that we can potentially see price heading towards probably could be around this level right over here, right? This level, about 190, right? About this 190, 190, 195, this level right over here, because this was actually a resistance back then in March and in April, right over here in 2024, right? Before price actually broke above it. So right now, and price broke above it, right? There isn't any signs whereby, you know, price just suddenly surge, right? Because at this point in time, if prices were to come back down, we don't exactly know where the support or the buying pressure will be coming back. So the best gauge that we can have based on this is that, you know, the next level of support to look for would be around this 190 to about this 190, 195 level right over here. So if prices is unable to hold above this 224, 223 level, this is where potentially we might see price heading towards as well. So for Esther, for Yang Zijiang, I do hope that you have a trading plan in place, especially with a stop loss. If prices were to continue breaking support, not so great, right? And that is where we want to get out and not to have losing positions, not to be sitting on losses. Okay, so I hope that helps. I will pass the time back over to Joey to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you so much, Z. Let me move on to the very next stock. So we have like more than 200 of you over here. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us, guys. Would it be okay, guys, if you help us to just click the like and share button? Just help us. I think it will definitely help out the channel as well. All right, and help us to reach out to more people. Just make sure that you click on the heart shape button. Right here, heart shape button. Give us some love. All right, click some plus, heart. Right, like what I see on my phone. Thank you so much. That will be really helpful. I see a lot of hearts. Right, those of you who are doing that, awesome. Thank you. All right, okay, so very good, guys. I will go to cover the next stock, and let me see what covers. So I think a lot of you are asking about, let's see, right, the banks, right? So I have OCBC right here. Let me see, right? Good time to buy the banks, RTKW, right? We have Mifi. I want to buy bank stocks, right? But don't know what stocks, right? Qiseng, OCBC, all right. Good time to buy now. We go down further. Very good question, Qiseng. Thanks for joining us again every single Friday, Qiseng. Awesome, right? Collab as well. Good morning. OCBC went to buy. A lot of you are asking about OCBC, so I thought why not just go ahead to cover OCBC right now. And I know we have some questions as well. I think some of you are asking a bit of questions like, hey, just now we covered the markets, right? And like Hi asking that should we sell our stocks and get out of the market first, right? So maybe you missed the part about the market. So I think it really depends, all right, on the stocks, right? I mean, the market is one thing, but that specific stock that you're holding is another thing, all right? We are indeed seeing some weakness in the market, like I covered the S&P and even the STI. But if the stock that you're holding on still looks okay, still looks good, I mean, in fact, if there's some bearish or maybe even bullish signals still looking good, then maybe still okay. So I think you really need to have a plan, all right? Not just like get out because the market go down, you just get out, but maybe the stock is good, all right? So it really depends on that as well. So if you want to find a bit more, guys, on the entire strategy, so today's session is AMAS, Ask Me Any Stocks. We're going to cover the stocks that you guys want. We have no time to talk about or cover the entire one good trend strategy or how exactly the 1GT Pro indicator works or all the advanced features. No time, all right? It will be your stocks and 3 bonus top stocks at the end, which each of us will share. So if you want to find out more, attend one of those free webinars. All right, I'll just place the link in the chat. All right, my team will place the link in the chat. Click on it, register for it, and that's where we have I think one more training just next week. So register for it if you want to find out a bit more on the entire strategy. So let me just dive back into OCBC right now. Let me pull out collapse, when to buy, OCBC, Chising, when to buy, we go down further. So this is OCBC, $16.66. This is live, it's happening right now, $16.66. You can see we had a 1 GT bearish signal coming out, but let me just backtrack a little bit on what has happened since last year. So you see last year, not too bad, right? Not too bad. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 bullish signals, all the way up, right? So when you get a bullish signal, especially with the trend all turning up, there we go, 20% in about 5-6 months. Another bullish signal, pump. There we go. Another one here in November, all the way up. So over the past 1-2 months, it seems like we have 2 bearish signals. So bearish signal starts coming down. Another bearish signal today, it starts coming down as well. So I would say that we are indeed seeing a bit of weakness again. Same thing, market STI sold off. All right, some selling is happening. All right, so the question is, when to buy back, right? Good time to buy. Is it now? Is it tomorrow? Is it next week, right? When is good time? Well, I don't know exactly when, right? I don't know exactly when, because nobody will know when it will hit to this price or that day or what time. Nobody will know, right? But what we can tell from the chart is that if it does approach certain levels, all right, certain support level, don't know when, right? But if it does approach that support level, that is where potentially, all right, not confirm, but potentially, some buying pressure can come back. Why? Because we have seen some buying pressure appearing there previously, all right? And that's where some bargain hunting can appear. So let's find out where would that be. Well, I would say for OCBC, one of the near-term support would be right over here, right? Maybe around the 1640 to 1650 level. Look at this right over here. That was where since December, kind of like hovered above it. It was a little bit of a resistance here, broke above it, retested the same resistance, the support went up, came back down in March, all right, rebounded again. Obviously, now we are coming back down again. So 1640, 1650, that could potentially, now it's what, 16.66. So that could potentially be where some bargain hunting can come back. But I would say a much formal support would be slightly lower right over here. And that would be around the $16. Well, why? Because I would say that $16 is a psychological level. You can see somewhere in November, right? Went above it, we consolidated here, right? You can see sideways for about a month. All right, so that has kind of like, put that as a pretty good support level. And it is also near where the 200 days moving average line is as well. Very near, very near. So I would say that right now, unfortunately, we can see some weakness in the short term. Bearish signals have popped out finally, all right? And if you take a look at the green 20 days moving average line, look at this right over here, right? This green 20 days moving average line that represents or give an indication of the short-term trend. Since November, it was like, all the way down, and now like going down some more. Does it make sense so far? All right, so if you ask me the short-term trend is up or down, don't need to bluff yourself. I think it's down right now. Plus, we got a bearish signal. All right, so it could be a good thing as well, as I say, right? Because it could be an opportunity to get in at much attractive prices, especially if you have got out, you're taking some profit previously near the $17.80 to $18 level. Right? Let me just draw this resistance. I think $18 would be a pretty good resistance level for now. Right over here. So I think that would be a resistance level you've got out there. I think it could be a good opportunity to get in maybe near 16 to 1650 when we see some stability coming back, we see some bullish candlestick coming back, we see the short-term trend stop pointing down, maybe even new bullish signal coming out. That would be all the confirmations that we are looking for to think about getting in again to potentially ride the reversal back up. Right, so not today, not tomorrow, maybe not next week. I don't know, maybe in 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time. Let's just monitor and see how it plays out. I think that could be really attractive. All right, so that will be OCBC. All right, and let me pass on the mic to Bervyn to cover his next Singapore stock.
Thanks, Joey. Okay, since Joey did OCBC in that case, I think I will do DBS then. Okay, so let me throw up the screen. Okay, so right on the screen right now, we have DBS looking very, very similar to OCBC this morning, the local banks actually fallen. But is it a good chance to accumulate like Joey have mentioned? So I think we have to firstly also look at the 20 days moving average. We obviously see it as of this morning, it had started to point down. And we also have that one GT bearish signal that actually came in today. So this is a live signal. This is a live signal. This is not the signal from yesterday. This signal came in this morning, showing that there is nearer term weakness or sellers are currently present. And we want to be a bit more careful, although we have that 100 days and 200 days moving average still pointing up that longer term. Sorry, I think my chart just switch it back. Okay, so that nearer term is showing some weakness, but however, the longer term, the 100 days, 200 days moving average is still pointing up. So that longer term uptrend is still pretty much still very, very intact. But I think we have to be careful if those key levels, those key support levels are broken. I think we are right now very, very close to going to be testing that $43 support level where the buyers that came in. This level was respected previously. It's still holding at this point, but could it continue to hold? I think it looks like as of now, it looks like not too bad. We have seen a little bit of a buyers coming back in closer to this support this morning. So if you are looking to accumulate, should you be buying it now? I would say I think maybe consider to wait for a bit, monitor for a bit, maybe across. Today is the last day of the week already, so maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, see where are the price headed. If we see prices start to break below that 43 level, then I think not so good already, because the next support level I would say would be around that $39 level. So you don't want to be rushing in to buy, although it just got cheaper today. You want to wait for it to stabilize a little bit, wait for the 20 days moving average to maybe also flatten out at the same time, because I think the upside, if that $43 is still able to hold, I would say would still be around or heading back towards that $47 level. So if I were to just turn on quickly my trailing support and resistance, you could see that as of yesterday or as of this morning, we actually saw that prices actually open lower than that trailing support previously reached. Hence why there is that one GT bearish signal that come in. The weakness is still there. We want prices to head a little bit back up before actually rushing in. All right, Jingong, I think for DBS, just take a wait and see mentality for the next few days at least. Right? Maybe I can pass the time to Z to go through the next stock.
All right, thanks, Bervyn. Okay, so since everybody is talking about banks, right, and then I think some of you guys are also looking at bank stocks, why not let me just cover UOB, right, which is the last bank in Singapore. So I will not be spending too much time on this, because in Singapore, definitely we only have 3 banks, right? So majority of the time, all the 3 banks will most likely move in the same direction. And as you can see right over here, which is very similar, right, to how OCBC and DBS actually move, right? And today for UOB, there is also, like what Bervyn mentioned, a live 1 GT bearish signal coming out right over here. But if I were to zoom in a little bit, right, and compare a little bit more in depth in terms of the short-term weakness among all the 3 banks, right, let me just zoom this in, okay? And you can just take a look at the green line. If this green line, which is the 20 days moving average, right, for UOB, definitely it seems like the weakness compared to the other 2 banks, which is OCBC and also DBS, right? This seems to be relatively stronger in terms of the short-term weakness. Plus, if we look at just the candlestick today, right, this is a rather bearish candlestick, right? And comparing to what Bervyn mentioned for DBS, at least you see some buying pressure coming back. There's some, there is at least a little bit of, lower shadow. But if I were to look at UOB right over here, right, there is nothing. It is still a very red and long bearish candlestick, right? So this means that, among all the 3 banks, if you were to ask me which, in my opinion, which I think would be the weakest at this point in time, I would say definitely it would be UOB in my opinion, all right? And UOB right now, it seems like it is actually testing, right now, it's actually testing this support right over here, which is around this 35.50, right? Right now, I think the price is trading at about 35.55. So it's very, very near to the support, right? But as you can see, like what I've mentioned earlier on, the 20 days moving average is still pointing down very steeply. There is still no signs of it like flattening out yet. So even though we always say that, you know, you want to buy near the support when the longer term trend is up, in this case both the red and the blue line is still hitting up, right? But like what Joey and Bervyn mentioned, we always don't want to rush in, right? Because this short-term trend is still pointing down, right? It can still continue to point down. And when this 20 days moving average still continue pointing down, what it means is that the price could also very likely potentially break the support and continue heading down, right? So what we want to see is this 20 days moving average, right? To at least, you know, do something like that. Let me just draw this, right? At least, like, you know, flatten out. So hopefully over the next couple of weeks, price for UOB is able to maintain and hold above this 35, this support level right over here, right? About this 35.50 right over here. If price is unable to hold above it, then where can we potentially see weakness towards, right? That would probably be around this level right over here, around 33.50, somewhere over here, right? 33.40 to 33.50, because this is where we actually saw selling pressure coming back right over here, one time, two times, right? And this is also where we saw multiple 1 GT bearish signal coming in. So yeah, so in terms of my view for UOB, right, I would say that for UOB, if you're thinking of buying a bank, perhaps this is one of the banks that you want to put in your watch list first. Do not rush in to buy just yet. And perhaps you can also set some alerts, right? What alert I'll be setting? Definitely I'll want to actually set an alert which is for the 1 GT bullish and bearish signal. So what I just did is I changed this to 1 good trend pro, once per bar, and open-ended. So basically this one I will put like UOB, right? So when I actually create this means that it will actually alert me whenever there is any new 1 GT bullish or bearish signal coming out for this particular counter. And then when I'm alerted, then I'll go in and take a look again. All right. So that would be for UOB, a very quick one. And I will pass the time back over to Joey to cover the next Singapore stock.
All right, thank you so much. Right, so we have covered all the three banks, right? OCBC, DBS, and UOB. All right, so I hope you guys are a little bit clearer. Let's move on to the next one, and let's see. I think I would like to cover this stock. Seems like a lot of you are asking about this stock right over here. We have Ahyok, right? Yang Zhejiang Financial. I believe it's Yang Zhejiang Financial Holding. Is it the right time to buy? All right, let's see. We have here as well. All right. Any comment for Yang Zhejiang Financial Holding? Bought it at 0.79. Even Chester as well. Can Yang Zhejiang Financial Holding continue its uptrend? So let's find out right now. This is Yang Zhejiang Financial Holding. The code is YF8. All right. Price 0.755. This is live. It's happening right now. Right. 0.755. So let's find out. So you can see for Yang Zhejiang Financial Holding. In fact, this has been a stock that we have, I would say, one of the best performing stocks since last year. We have covered it, we have shared it for clients in Philip Securities, our graduates, our mentees as well. One of the top performing stocks. You can see we actually had a bullish signal right over here, right, in October, and there we go. Look at this, right? I think from this point on in exactly 26 September all the way to today, right? 113%. All right, in about 6 months, 113% in 6 months. One of the best performing stocks, right? And let's find out. So you can see that right now, do we have any bearish signal? Some of you might say, hey, it looks pretty okay. I mean, there's no bearish signal. Agree, right? There's no bearish signal. It still looks good. The longer term trend is up. Well, the green line, this green 20 days moving average line is still kind of pointing up. I mean, it still looks pretty strong, right? Very firm. I don't know whether you extend more, but it looks like very steady, you know, pointing up. The 20 days moving average, the green line, it was like flat for like about 3-4 months, very boring, huh? But look at here, pump, we broke to 44 to 45 cents. There we go. All right. Okay, so let's find out if, you know, should we actually think of buying? Well, I would say that we have indeed gone up by 113%. I mean, over the past 6 to 7 months, quite a lot, right? So indeed, the question would be, you know, if you want to think of buying, right, or can it continue uptrending stuff? Is it the right time to buy? You know, and well, I would say that if you buy, then the question is, what is your plan? What's your plan? I mean, first you want it to go up to 80 cents or 90 cents, $1 better, right? Great. But if it doesn't, then what happens? Are you going to hold it all the way down? And what's your plan, right? So I think that would be the question. So let me go to show you. Let me just turn on the trailing support. So you can see, when we got this bullish signal popping out in September, to be exact, right? 26 September. a trailing support line pops up. Look at this, right? A trailing support, up, flat, all right? Let me explain in a nutshell, what is a trailing support? As the name sounds, a trailing support is a support that follows the stock as it moves even higher, all right? It gives it space to breathe, it gives it the allowance to move while accounting for volatility, all right? So if you're very volatile, it's moving up, and you're like, always moving up and down, very volatile, we give you more space. If you're not so volatile, then you don't need so much space lah, all right? Like for example, right over here, when it was moving sideways from October to December, you can see that the trailing support is very near the price. I mean, very near lah, all right? In fact, it's just above the trailing support, right? I mean, why no space? Well, because don't need so much space because it's not really moving at all, right? So, but once it starts moving up, there we go. You can see that is where the trailing support follows it as it moves up. Follow, while giving it space, so that it's a fine balance, based on our back testing as well. It's a fine balance. We don't want to give it too little space, but we don't want to give so much space until it's like so far up. No, all right? We give it just enough space to breathe and to hopefully move higher. All right, so you can see that for Yang Zhejiang Financial Holding, in fact, just last week, when was this day? That was on Tuesday. In fact, just a few days back on Tuesday, well, we actually got this candlestick bar, right? You can see that we are above the trailing support. So this trailing support, you can see follow up. Now it's flattening out. Green 20 days moving average line pointing up. All right, so on Tuesday, we actually sold all the way down, but we neared the trailing support whereby the space is given and it starts to rebound all the way back up. So I think right now, as of today, all right, I mean, I don't know whether next week or next week, but as of today, I think it still looks quite okay because we are above this maybe 0.72. I think 7.2. These trailing supports will be about 7.1, 7.2, but let's just say 7.2. Right? Anything above 7.2, I think it still looks quite okay. We might just be moving sideways a little bit. Resistance-wise, quite clearly, 80 cents, 0.80. So the range is 72 cents to 80 cents. So if you're thinking of buying, and some of you ask me, is it the right time to buy? I bought it previously, and can it continue its uptrend? So maybe you're looking to buy, or maybe you have it, right? Well, I think nobody knows. If it breaks the 80 cents, good. We may even see a new bullish signal. It might start to push even higher after 80 cents. If it breaks 80 cents, haven't yet, I don't know when, okay, but if it breaks 80 cents, good, right? Go to 81, 82, 83, 80, wow, great, no problem, right? You can push even higher. And I can tell you this trailing support will follow it up even more and let it go higher as well, giving it more space. So that's the easy part. That's the easy part, to be honest, right? But I'm not looking at the easy part, right? Because to be honest, nobody knows whether it can go up, can go down. If it go up, then better. But what we're looking at as traders and what professional traders do is that we must be taking steps to protect our profits. So the question is not about going up. Going up very easy, okay? But the question is, what if it goes down? Then when do we want to get out? When do we want to cut loss, take our profits? Well, so essentially, let's say you have got in over here, right? You've got in over here, 40 cents, 50 cents, whatever, even 52. You're definitely making money already, all right? The question is that we don't want it to come all the way back down and then you're like back to square one. Does it make sense? All right, we don't want that to happen. So we would want to do is that you want to have a plan. So, for example, what you could do is to place what we call like a stop limit order, like a stop loss, just below what we call this trailing support level, something like this, right? So as I say, 71, 72, that is a trailing support. We want to be above it. Thankfully, we're still above it. But if we go below it, right, not so good. We might see a potential reversal. We might see a bearish signal coming out. We might see some short-term selling. And do you want to hold it all the way down? Probably not. All right. So that's where you want to have a plan to get out maybe at 69.5, 69, just a few bits below this trailing support, just to protect that winning trade, to protect your profits. All right. So that no matter what happens, you still make money, especially if you have brought 113% gain, over the past couple of months. Does it make sense? All right. And another thing you could do, right, as I say, guys, I mean, we have this 1GD Pro indicator, and like Z has mentioned as well, we could actually just right-click, set an alert. All right. One Good Trend Pro, buy alert or sell alert. Okay, just both, right? Buy or sell alert once per bar. Pam. There we go. So if there's any buy alert or maybe a sell alert, like for example, we break this trailing support, we'll see a sell alert. My phone will ring, my email will be received, all right? And that's where I can log in to check and maybe to get out, all right? But that's what you want to do. Make sure you are alerted on when to get in and also when to get out when the time comes, not just hold on blindly and let it go all the way back down. All right, I hope that makes sense. All right, so level 72 to 80 cents, that is pretty much the range. Hopefully, we stay above 72. I think it still looks okay. If not, if we break 80 cents, I think upside targets could be revised even higher. All right, so Bervyn, could you bring us through the next Singapore stocks? Let's go.
Thanks, Joey. All right. Okay. So on my screen right here, I think Wilson was asking Centurion has corrected back to the support. Can we buy more? Great question. I think Centurion has been on Joey's watch list and also our watch list for the past few months. It's one of those stocks that Joey have also sent out to his clients. So for those of you who are actually clients of Joey under Philip Securities, you will have received updates on this stock as well. So if you want to receive those updates, I think you can also just simply, I think the link will be in the chat. I think you can just simply fill up the form there and a team member will actually reach out to actually, if you want to be a client of Joey, you can apply as well, a VIP client, where you will receive like this WhatsApp broadcast with all the Singapore trading ideas on a regular basis. All right, so Wilson, coming back to this Centurion, hopefully you're still here with us. I think Centurion has seen a pretty good run up since the last year, somewhere in August, where there was actually a 1 GT signal and then prices started to hit higher with, that's about 48% increase, 48% increase before we see that 1 GT bearish signal actually come in, and then subsequently prices actually move a little bit sideways, not doing too much, and finally breaking higher, and we have 4 1 GT bullish signals that have actually came in. So from then to now, you perhaps have already been sitting on an additional 24% of gains. So not too bad. So now you're thinking whether if it will start to head higher, is this a temporary pullback? I think a few key levels to actually watch out for would be, firstly, where prices have actually tested and then pulled back, I think in the last week or so, that 125 resistance level. The 125 resistance level, I think, is one level that you can see that sellers are not letting that level go so easily. And the next level would be around, I would say, that 110 level, that $1.10 level, where you can see previously prices actually approached that level, finally breaking above it, coming down in a few days to test it, and then heading to that 125 level. So with that 110 level as a temporary support, I would say, it hasn't been really tested too much at this point. So I mean, we want to look for a little bit of a stronger support, but with the trend all still intact, that 20 days moving average still sloping up a little bit, the 100 days, 200 days moving average still showing that the uptrend is still not too bad at this point. Gradual is very, very gradual at this point. So I would set perhaps maybe a temporary buy zone around that 110 level if you are looking to get in, because that 1 GT bullish signals are still in play at this point. So the next question would be, okay, if I buy at this 110, right? If I continue to buy at this 110, like Joey had mentioned just now, you can or you should take those steps to actually protect those profits as well. So if you turn on the trailing support and resistance lines, let me just get rid of this box for a little bit. You can see that the trailing support is right at that 110 support level. So I think that gives you a pretty good confirmation that this is a key level, at least at this point. And if prices break below this 110 level, it is not too good already. So if you get in closer to that 110 and you currently already have positions, I think you should adopt a strategy to place that stop limit order below that 110 level, maybe about the 107, 108 level, to just be a little bit more cautious to secure those profits that you're already sitting on. But of course, if prices head up, I mean, we all want the prices to continue going up, then that would be, of course, a good sign. But of course, to shift that stop limit order up at the same time below that trailing support, so your exposure to the upside can be continued while also protecting your downside. So with that being said, I think the upside, if the 125 level is being broken, would be towards, I think, firstly, at 140, 141. I think let's call it 140 level first, where it would be the next resistance level. So if we want to see a little bit of consolidation, a bit sideways, move up, consolidate a little bit more, move higher, that's always a good sign or a healthy sign of an uptrend. Okay, so you can set some alerts above that 125 to let yourself know if that 125 level gives way as well. I think Z and Joey have also shown you on how to actually set an alert like this. All right, okay, so I think that's a very, very quick one for Centurion. So maybe Z, can you bring us through the next one?
All right, thanks, Bervyn. Okay, so the next one that I'll be talking about will be Reit, right? So I saw Madam Tan is actually asking about Reit and is looking to buy into this stock, right? So Madam Tan, your name is very familiar. I don't know if you are actually one of our clients, because actually we have quite a lot of Madam Tan, but hopefully you're one of our clients, okay? So let's take a look at this stock, right? For Reit, previous years that we have seen, right, 2021, 2022, 2023, it's really very boring. Right? Just look at this, right? It's just one flat line going straight all the way, and it's trading around this level about like 20%, right? But price action started to be a bit more exciting, right? When it is somewhere in August, September, and this is where price started to rally all the way up. And this is also where we saw more confirmation, right? From the moving averages, which is, where we start to see the 20 days moving average starts to point up, the red line, 100 days, and the 200 days has also started to show more confirmation of the trend turning upwards, right? From a sideways to a upwards. And prices, this is where we also get 1GT bullish signal coming out, right? And let's just take a look. I'm just curious. From here to where we have 1GT bearish signal coming out, this is about 120%, right? So wow, this is quite massive in terms of the incline in price, right? So then subsequently, let's take a look at what happened, right? So subsequently from October to November to where we are at, in fact, prices kind of like just move sideways, right? We can actually very clearly see that price is actually trading within a range bound. And where would that be, right? That means there will be a support level, right? And the support level seems to be somewhere around this, 40 cents level right over here, right? This support level right over here, 40 cents. Because this is where we saw buyers come in multiple times, right? Near it, right over here as well. And then every time prices is actually near this 40 cents or touches this 40 cents, buyers come back in to push prices back up, right? This is one sign that this is actually a support level. The next one that we are looking at is the resistance, right? Right over here, this very first candle that we see after price actually went up all the way, right? We saw this very long upper shadow, and especially it is nearing this 56 cents, right? This 56 cents. This means that selling pressure is very strong and heavy right at that level. Next thing, over here, we actually see selling pressure come back in again, and we also see a 1GT bearish signal, right? And prices start to pull back, came back down, and retest the 40 cents, right? Retest the 40 cents. And as of now, what do we see? We do see a 1GT bullish signal right over here on the 20th of March, right? 20th of March. And let's take a look at the trend, okay? In terms of the short-term and the longer-term trend by the moving averages. In terms of the short-term trend, I would say that it looks pretty good, right? Because the 20 days moving average is actually heading up, right? It's pointing up. And in terms of the longer term trend, I would say it's also looking pretty decent. At least it's not pointing down, right? You see the blue line is actually still heading up. The red line, maybe some of you might say it's kind of like flattening out, I will agree. But the longer term, the 200 days, is actually still heading up. So it's still not too bad, right? It's still not too bad. So in terms of where to actually buy, right? We always say that you want to buy near a support level, right? Near a support level. So definitely we know that the support level at this point in time is near this 40 cents. So I would say near the support level, this is where we can actually potentially position ourselves for entry near this support level. But of course, I'm not too sure whether, right now over the past 3 days, price has been pulling back. But I'm not sure if it will pull back enough to this level for you to actually get in, right? But if prices, were to continue to head up, right, and is able to hold and break above this 56 cents, right, where potentially can price head towards, right? That is the question. So we can actually do a projection upwards like this and project it upwards, right, from the resistance level. That would be the next target, somewhere around this 72 cents level right over here. Okay, so for Madam Tan, perhaps this is some of the price levels that you might want to set some alerts on, especially near the support. And if price can actually break and hold above this resistance at 56 cents. All right. So yep, that's for WeHer. I'll pass the time back to Joey to cover the next Singapore stock.
All right, thank you so much, Z. All right, let me move on to the next one. All right, and that would be this company called Seatrium, right? Seatrium, I think Seatrium whole, right? I think we have Andrew asking as well. Seatrium can accumulate to average down as price has dropped quite a bit, right? Okay, let's find out. So this is Seatrium right over here, and Seatrium actually since last year it was actually one of those pretty strong stock. It was like at about $1.50. Then we covered it. We got some bullish signals all the way up. Another bullish signal went all the way up, but over the past 1 over month, even before this whole tariff things, even that was like somewhere in February, where we actually got a bearish signal. So based on the bullish signals, we went up. The gains would be about 54%, all right, in about 5 to 6 months. Pretty good, right? But let's find out as to what has happened over the past 1 to 2 months. Well, essentially, you can see that we have a 1 GT bearish signal coming out. All right, and why? Let me just go to turn it on for you, and then let's find out. You can see that I can turn on the trailing support. So this is the 1 GD Pro indicator that I have. For those of you who are just joining us right now, all right, welcome to the Ask Me Any Stock session. But essentially, we are covering the stock that you guys want a quick opinion. Now is Seatrium. All right, and you can see that I've turned on the 1 GD Pro indicator, the trailing support, and when we got this bullish signal, you can see trailing support pops up, follows, flat up, flat up, flat, it follows, right? But somewhere around February, in fact, 25th Feb to be exact, all right? As I say, this trailing support give a stock space to hopefully move higher, all right? Give it a breathing space. If you are above it, you are good, right? You're still okay, right? But if you go below it, I mean, I give you the space, you're supposed to be above it, right? But if I give you the space and yet you go below it, you take up all the space, not good. All right, that means there could be some selling coming back. All right, and that's exactly what happened, right? We got a bearish signal. The green 20 days moving average line point up even more. But when the bearish signal came out, you can see this green 20 days moving average line that was going up started to flatten out, and over the past few weeks started to point down. All right, is it pointing down some more? I don't know, but it looks like it's going to point down some more. All right, but we got a bearish signal, and now it's the opposite, right? We have a trailing resistance that pops up based on this bearish signal, and we are following prices as it goes lower while giving it space to maybe go lower. Does it make sense? All right, so I think back to your question, Andrew, right? Can accumulate to average down as price has dropped quite a bit. I agree with you, the second part, which dropped quite a bit. In fact, not a bit, quite a lot, right? So, but doesn't mean it dropped quite a lot means you just get into buy, all right? Or you just average down, all right? Or you just buy because it's cheap. No, we don't do that, right? We don't do that. We only think about buying when there are clear signs of a reversal, all right? That says it's going to go up. Because if you buy like last week, jialat, all right? You buy last week, jialat, today go down more. You buy today, maybe next week you say jialat, right? So we don't buy this because it's cheap, all right? Or because it has dropped by quite a bit or a lot, or no, doesn't matter, all right? Only when we see clear signs of a reversal, right? So let's wait to find out what has happened. So you can see that right now we are very near the support level. So it used to be good, right? But right now you can see that we've got bearish signals. It's starting to push lower. If I can draw this support level somewhere around the $1.80. That was where we were holding above since October, rebounded. You can see that's where the longer term moving averages are as well. In fact, now it's 1.92. We may be slowly heading towards the 180 to 190. I think that is where potentially some bargain hunting can come back. But it doesn't mean that I draw that level means you go there, you buy, and then you rebound. No, right? That's just where some bargain hunting can come back, right? If we were to break that level, we may even see a bearish signal coming out. It might hit even lower. All right, so probably don't want to buy, probably don't want to just get in because it's cheap, because we want to wait for at least the trend to turn up in the short term, all right, and also maybe to see like a bullish signal coming out like this, right? If you see like a bullish signal, another one, all right, so it might go down and then maybe it consolidate and it pump a bullish signal and it starts reversing back up. We see the short-term trend, maybe the green line starts turning back up as well with another bullish signal as a confirmation, or that could guide us to get back in. Not now. It hasn't come yet. All right, so be patient. Wait. Probably not want to buy just because it's cheap. All right, so that is pretty much Seatrium, right? So before I pass on the mic to Bervyn, right, guys, some of you are asking about the stocks, and then we have covered some of the stocks. In fact, we have covered like about 10 stocks already, including Seatrium. So let me just go to list out all the stocks that we have covered so far. So if you're asking about the same stocks, guys, we will not cover the same stock. Okay, you can watch the replay. And you can type in the chat, guys, if there's any stocks that we have not yet covered. Maybe it's floating above. Just type it again because we might miss it. Right, so type it again if we have not yet covered. We'll try to cover it. Right, but our sincere apologies, guys, if we cannot cover all the stocks. There's more than 50 over stocks, to be honest, right? We try our best. We try to pick those that a lot of people ask as well, all right? Okay, so let me just list out all the stocks that we've covered. We covered the S&P 500 Index, the market, the STI Straits Times Index, right? Number one, I did SETS, all right? SETS services. Number two, Comfortdelgo. Number three, Zhejiang Shipbuilding, and then the banks, right? Number 4, 5, 6, OCBC, DBS, UOB. Okay, we have number 7, Zhejiang Financial Holding. I covered that. Bervyn covered Centurion. Zee covered WeHer. And I just did Seatrium, and that's number 10. Number 10. All right. So, yep, as I say, guys, all right, just a quick shout out again. If today we don't have time to explain the whole strategy, or maybe like how to get this indicator, all right, and maybe I think some of you are like privately messaging like how do you get this indicator, how come this bearish signal comes out and stuff, right? And then how can I have access to this as well? Well, attend one of those free webinars. I'll just place the link in the chat again, all right? And pretty much just want to click the link in the chat and you'll come to this page right over here. Let me just show you the page, right? So just to be clear, right? So click on the link in the chat. You'll come to this page right over here, all right? Attention aspiring traders, investors who want to dominate the stock market in 2025, right? Click on the link. You come to this page next Tuesday, 8th of April, 2025, 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. There's a live session as well. So that is pretty much where you can register for it. We'll share with you guys a bit more on the entire One Good Trend strategy. How do we get in? How do we know what to buy? How do we filter out the top 1% of stocks before even thinking about buying or maybe to sell them as well? Right? It's all covered. So that is the link to check it out. This is the page where you hit to, and then you can register for this free masterclass online. All right. Okay, good. So that's it, guys. I want to pass on the mic to Bervyn to cover his next Singapore stocks. Bervyn, all yours?
Thanks, Joey. Okay, so I think Sebastian, hopefully you're still here. Okay, you're asking about Valuetronics. Okay, so just let me put my stock on the screen. Okay, so I think Valuetronics is one of those companies that's heavily manufacturing in China, and they have been hit pretty much quite heavily on the tariffs that is placed on China. So I think as of yesterday, we actually saw that prices have actually broke below that key support of 66 cents yesterday. That 1 GT bearish signal actually came out yesterday as well. We have that 20 days moving average not looking too good at this point, and prices heading back towards that 60 cents support level at the same time. So I think for now, I think Valuetronics perhaps maybe should not be rushing in to buy. Should definitely not be rushing in to buy. We want to see prices stabilize closer to that 60 cent support. We want that 60 cent support to be able to hold, not just break below one support, break through another support and hit lower, and maybe perhaps towards that 50 over cents. It's not something you want to be a part of, for sure. Yeah. So I think if prices are able to hold above the 60 cent support, prices could head back to the 66 cents level. So I think if we were to just turn on that trailing support and resistance, Sebastian, you could obviously see that. Let me just turn this on. Okay. That right now we have that trailing resistance already forming as of yesterday. That key levels to take note of would be firstly that 61, 66, and then I think that key resistance level, horizontal resistance level, would be around that 70 to 71 cents for now. So of course, if the 20 days moving average starts to go head lower, that would definitely symbolize that perhaps the prices have also started to head lower and lower. So there could be a reversal of the trend, but I think it's still a little bit too early to tell what's going on, but definitely it's not a immediate buy right now. So if we want to be a little bit more cautious, Sebastian, I think you could set an alert. Set an alert for prices crossing below that 60 cents level to get yourself alerted to know that that 60 cents support level have also given way. So if you have already gotten in, if you already have some positions in Valuetronics, I think it's perhaps a time to start to think of a stop loss plan as well. Or if you are sitting on some profits, perhaps you want to lock up some of those profits as well, reduce those exposure, not to have too much exposure at this point. No one is to say that if prices can rebound from this 60 cents level, you cannot get in again. We just want a little bit more confirmation. So that is for Valuetronics. Zee, can you bring us through the next stock?
All right, thanks, Bervyn. Okay, let me just share my screen. Okay, so the next stock, right, that I'll be covering will be Food Empire, and I think this is by William, right? William is asking about Food Empire to hold or to sell. So I would think that perhaps you are already holding on to this stock. And by the way, I hope, William, I hope you are still here because I saw that your comment was at 7:48 a.m. and now it's 11:47. I hope you are still here with us. Okay, so let me just go ahead to cover Food Empire. Okay, so for Food Empire, you know, for the past year, it hasn't been doing really well lah, because you know we can see that, you know, somewhere in April, that's where the trend started to reverse and it starts to head sideways for a couple of months, right? At least 6 months, right? From June all the way to where we are in March, and that's where we then start to see some action coming back in, right? So as of now, I mean, we don't see any exit signals, which is any bearish signal yet, right? We actually do see 1GT bullish signal right over here, and let's just take a look. Let's just take a look from this signal to where we are at now. This is about close to about 37% rise in price, right, with no exit signal yet. So William, if you have actually gotten in somewhere here, right, I'm pretty sure you are already sitting on profits lah. Congrats. And you know, now that you're already up about, you know, close to 30%, right, do remember to actually take some profits, right? Don't be greedy. Don't just let it sit there, not do anything, and then hope that it will go up even more. At least take some action to protect your profits along the way, right? Just in case if prices were to reverse back down. Okay, so this was one of the stocks that we actually covered, I think 2 weeks ago in our Ask Me Any Stock live as well. And you can see over here, right, this level that I put in dotted line, right, it's actually one of the so-called temporary support that we were actually looking at over the past 2 weeks, because this is where we actually saw, you know, prices was hovering sideways, and this is the level about 135, right? This is where, you know, price actually closed above most of the days, right? So this was actually a temporary support that we were seeing. But right now today, price currently, this is live, it's actually trading at about 1.32. So it seems like it has kind of like broken below this temporary support, right? So let me just change this to red. So as of now, I would say that this has turned to become like a temporary resistance at this point in time, right? At this point in time. And if prices were to continue, right, if let's say today, you know, price or the next couple of days, price is unable to recover and close back above this 135 level, right, then perhaps that is where we may see more weakness actually returning, right? Returning to where? I think this would be the next key and crucial support level to actually take note, and that would be at the 125 level, right? Because this is where first we actually saw buyers present coming back, price rebounded before it actually get down and broke below. And from May all the way to where we are at, it was actually kept below this 125 level, right? So this 125, I would say, will be one of the very key and crucial support level to take note. If prices were to break below this 125, then definitely we might expect to see more weakness returning back to this counter line, and perhaps we might also even see, you know, potential trend reversal back in play, right? Because at this point in time, all three moving averages are actually still heading up, right? The red, the green, and the blue, they are still heading up. But if prices were to actually, you know, break below this 125, definitely we might see, you know, the 20 days moving average starts to flatten out and starts to point down as well, right? So, and in terms of, you know, some of you guys who are still holding on to this Food Empire, right, and you are thinking of maybe where can you potentially take some profits, I would say, yeah, like what I've mentioned, I will reiterate, right? Because price have already gone up so much, about 30%. Do remember to take some profits along the way, especially when it's near the resistance, right? So definitely we can actually see some resistance right over here, right? Let me just put this in a line. Right over here, number one, this $1.40, because this is where, you know, over the past couple of weeks, we saw some selling pressure coming back, right? And this is where we see, you know, prices actually pull back slightly. So 140, I would say, definitely is one of the resistance level that we can take note. And the next resistance level will be somewhere around here, close to this 150 level right over here, right? Because this was previously back at the start of 2024 where we saw prices went up near this level, but then unable to break above, came back down, and then that is where, you know, the sideways consolidation actually started, right? So I would say in terms of taking profit wise, perhaps where you can set some price alert will be somewhere near this 140 as well as the 150 level, close to this 150, and that is where you can potentially, you know, think about, you know, exiting partial of your position or maybe even your full position as well, right? Because since price, like I've mentioned, already risen up to close to like almost 40%, 30 over percent, right? So yeah, that would be a very quick one for Food Empire. Passing the time back over to Joey for the next Singapore stock.
All right, thank you so much, Z. Let's move on to the next one. All right, so I see we have a lot of questions. I mean, some of you type in the chat, like, you know, like ST Engineering, even like Singtel, even like Samcorp Industry. All right, like so just hang in there. As I say, guys, you know, this actually just, I mean, just a bit of a hit. These are actually some of the stocks that we might want to share with you guys at the end as a bonus. So those of you who want to know what are the top 3 stocks that is in our watch list for potentially more upside, right? Well, it could be, if we have not covered your stock, perhaps we might want to cover it at the end. All right, at the end, like ST Engineering. I think some of you mentioned about it. Right, so just hang in there. Maybe at the end we'll cover that stock. I believe one of my team, I think Bervyn and Zee, maybe want to cover that as well. So maybe they're just holding on to it. So if we haven't covered that, not to worry, we will cover it maybe at the end because it's a bonus stock that you might want to watch as well. All right. Okay, so let me go ahead to share with you guys my screen, and let me move on to this next stock from Leong. Hi, Joey, Hong Leong Asia. Very good. Thank you so much for giving us a bit of context, right? Bought at 1.03. Retraced from 1.27. Yes, indeed, correct. What is the next support? 1 GT sell signal appear. All right, let's find out. Right? So maybe before I turn it on, let's take a look at what has happened for Hong Leong Asia. I think the trend looks pretty good for Hong Leong Asia. The red is above the blue. Longer term uptrend intact. Well, in the short term, we saw a bit of weakness right here, down. And somewhere in December, there we go all the way up. Well, I think the short-term trend is pretty much up as well. I think now maybe a bit of a sideways to up, but it still looks quite okay, right? So let me go to turn on the 1 GT Pro indicator right over here. All right, let's go do that. Pump. So as I say, guys, for this 1 GT Pro indicator, right, it doesn't matter what stocks, that's what we've been doing for all the stocks, right? And in a matter of seconds, turn it on and you can see for yourself, all right, whether are there any bullish or even bearish signals. I mean, can you see yourself doing this, guys? I mean, nothing complicated, just type the name only, right? Ken? So that is pretty much for Hong Leong Asia. We had some bullish signals in July, pump, all the way up. A bearish signal came down a bit. 2 bullish signals in December. There we go. All right. Let's see. I think somewhere in 6th of March, right? About a month back, we had a 1 GT bullish signal. And yeah, we went all the way up, but unfortunately over the past 2 days, with the market selling down, the US, I think now the Singapore market is down by more than 100 over points, the STI, all right? So yeah, we are kind of like pulling back a little bit more, retracing from previous high. Price is 1.12. So let me go ahead, Leo, to answer your question. I would say what would be the support level. So I think resistance-wise, if I can draw it for you, 130, I think 130 to 128, that is pretty much where we have headed near and put back. So I think that would be the resistance level. Support level, if I can draw it for you, well, 110. 110. Why? Essentially, that was where we consolidated below in March. All right, you can see came down, we're below it, pump. We broke above the 110. There we go. All right, so now we're making our way back down to the 110. And if you look at it, right, this 110, all right, in fact, if I just move my line a bit, you can see that the green line is actually right here as well. Does it make sense? So this green line, the 20 days moving average, acts a little bit like a dynamic support level. All right, so let me just put it back again. So I think 110 would be kind of like the support level. Now it's 112, so it's still above it. I mean, I don't know whether today or what it will be, but so far as of now, it's still above it. We can push away from 110 support level. We go to, we might go to near 111, 112, but then at the end of the day, if we close higher and we see a bullish candle, maybe we close at 115 or 116, or maybe at the day high or 118, right? I think that would be a very good bullish reversal candle that can lead maybe the reversal back up. But right now, it's still somewhere near 112, right? So just take note. I think 110 could be a pretty good support level looking at the past prices. And let me now go ahead to turn on maybe the trailing support. So this is the 110 horizontal support level that I've drawn, all right? But what about the trailing support that give the stock space to hopefully move higher. Are we above it, right? Let's find out. And if you're above it, then where are we, right? So let's find out. Let's go turn it on. Pump. There we go. So you can see this trailing support that came out when the bullish signal came out. You can see flat up and we remain flat. You can see, yeah, right over here, very near the 110, very near the 110. So I think, yeah, seems like everything is pointing to 110, right? So 110 is horizontal support. It's also where the trailing support is. It's also where the 20 days moving average line is. I think that is a pretty good critical level. Hopefully we can push away from it. We see some bullish candles near it. That could lead the reversal all the way back up to maybe the $1.30 level. All right. So I hope that answers your question. What is the near-term support? 110. Hopefully that holds. Any sell signal appears yet? No, haven't yet. But if the 110 breaks down, then maybe that will happen. Right. Then we might see more weakness in the short term. All right, Leo, I hope that helps. And let me pass on the mic to Bervyn to cover the next stock. All right, so maybe let's just go through, maybe let's go through one more round, and then we'll go on to talk about the top bonus stocks that we like. All right, so Bervyn, back to you.
Sure, Joey. Okay, so I'll go through the last requested stock, I guess. So last round of the requested stock. So I think Magdalene is asking on one of those stocks that is rather common as well, is IFAST. So just let me throw up IFAST on the screen as well. Okay, so sorry, just let me turn this off. So it's a bit neater at the start. Okay, I think it's rather clear, right, Magdalene? So Magdalene, I'm not sure whether you have already gotten into for IFAST, or you're thinking to buy, or are you thinking to sell at this point? But prices have clearly came down or seen a couple of weeks of weakness since the start of March. All the way prices are just coming down. It's just coming down. Not much support in between. It went through that $8 support very quickly. Not much holding on right there. And then prices are also, or today it had broken that $7 support level. Yep, so I need to change this back to a red color. So not too good at this point. It doesn't look like there's any bias that's actually coming in. As you can see from the candlestick itself, it's just a very long red bull candlestick. You don't see any shadows forming or anything like that. Yep, so that is a sign of a very bearish candlestick. So not too sure if you are looking to buy. Definitely maybe just hold on for a little bit. Why? It's also because we have that 20 days moving average already pointing down, crossing below that 100 200 days moving average, and maybe that 100 200 days moving average may start to slope downwards as well if prices continue its current weakness all the way down again, and we have that 1GT bearish signal at the same time that is still playing out. So where would the next support be? I would say the next support will be right around that 650 level at this point, where previously prices had rebounded from sometime in May or April, so exactly about a year ago from today. So we could go back to those same levels that we were about a year ago. So not too good if you are holding, but you definitely want to have a plan to get out of a counter like this, because there are no signs at this point showing to any reversal or any rebound from the immediate $7 support. And in fact, the $7 support have given way this morning already. All right. Okay. So if I were to just turn on this trailing support and resistance, for sure we see that trailing resistance heading down with the stock prices at the same time, although we give it room to breathe, we want to, of course, see prices very quickly or somewhat quickly going up and breaking that resistance level. But as of now, not just yet. So Magdalene, if you are holding onto the stock, I think have a stop loss plan, maybe below that $7 support or below that 650 support. Yeah, but if that 650 support gives way, also I'm also quite concerned whether your losses have been extended out too far at the same time. You don't want to be holding on to something and it starts to hit down, lower and lower. Then eventually you find it very difficult to sell already. All right, okay, so that's a very quick one for IFAST. Hopefully there's a little bit of direction there. Zee, can you bring us through the next stock?
Okay, thanks, Bervyn. Okay, so I think maybe the last stock that I will cover is, let me just see where is the comment. It is CaplandInvest. I think it's by KKK. Let me see where is Where is your comment? Let's see. Okay, never mind. I think I can't find your comment now, but okay, no worries. Let's just do KKK. Okay, let's just do CapitaLand Invest by KKK. Okay, because I can't seem to find your comment. Where is it right now? Yeah, right over here. Okay, great. Because I think so far we have covered 14 stocks, right? And then let's just do one REIT one, right? Let's just do one REIT one before we actually end off and before we actually share our bonus stock for today. Okay, so for CapitaLand Invest, right? Let's see. From 2023, even 2023, right? That's where we actually saw the downtrend playing out for this counter, right? And 2024, the downtrend is pretty much still intact right over here, and we saw multiple 1GT bearish signal, and then subsequently it's still going down until somewhere in August. It seems like a potential uptrend reversal is playing out, because this is where we actually saw the 20 days moving average actually breaking above both the longer term, and we saw 1GT bullish signal coming out, right? But it's very clear that right over here, right, this 320, we can see that there is some resistance right over here, because this is where selling pressure came back in. We see long upper shadows. Sellers came back in and pushed price back down all the way, and this is where we also saw a 1GT bearish signal coming in as well, right? And in terms of support level, we can actually see that the support will be somewhere be around close to 240, right? This level right over here, this 240 right over here. Why? Because number one, I mean, here it has tested it, right? But after that, it quickly rebounded. I mean, price broke below it, but after that, it quickly rebounded, and a 1GT bullish signal actually came out, right? And subsequently, right over here, we also see another candlestick, a pretty bullish candlestick, right, near the support zone, because this is where we saw long lower shadows, which means that there is buying pressure present, right? And subsequently over here, we see price has been testing this 240 level as well, and buying pressure actually came back in. So right now, we actually do see a 1GT bullish signal right on this day at 27th of February, right over here, right? And we are starting to see some signs of, the short-term trend gaining strength again, because this is where we see, the 20 days moving average has started to point up. But the thing is that, remember, we always also look at the longer term trend, right? The longer term trend. But at this point in time, if we look at the longer term trend, the blue line, the 200 days moving average, is actually still above the 100 days moving average. And it's not that great, right? Because you see the longer term trend, this 100 days moving average, right, it's kind of still pointing down, right? It's still pointing down, and this 200 days is still pointing sideways. So in terms of the longer term trend wise, it still doesn't look that great, even though we do see some short term strength in this particular counter, right? So for those because KKK, I'm not too sure if you are already holding on to this counter, or you're thinking to sell, or you're thinking to buy, right? But for those who are thinking to buy into REITs, right, I just want to remind you guys that, if the trend is actually down, right, we might not want to think about buying into REITs, even though I understand that, some of our clients tell us that, oh, REITs actually gives you dividend and it's dividend income, right? But if the trend is down and you buy, into a counter like that, it keeps going down, even though you get dividend, it kind of like net off each other, right? Because you are losing on your capital, even though you are getting dividend on one hand, right? So the thing is that you want to be aware of that, not just purely focus on dividends, okay? Not just purely focus on dividends, because we also do want to look at the trend. So for CapitaLand Invest right now, this is the levels that perhaps you want to set some price alert on, especially near the support level and near this resistance level about like this 320, right? So ideally, what we want to see is that, the 20 days moving average can continue to head up, right? But of course, also the longer term trend, the 100 days can actually cross and be above the 200 days moving average. And best if price, right, can actually break above this 320, then that is where potentially we might see a uptrend reversal playing out, because we need to make sure that price can actually break above the previous high over here, right, to see that, the buying pressure is actually indeed present to actually push for an uptrend reversal. All right, so that would be a very quick one for CapitaLand Invest. I'll pass the time back over to Joey to actually kickstart our bonus stock session.
All right, thank you so much, Z. So I was thinking that we maybe have a bit more time. Maybe we can go one more final round. Me, Bervyn and Zee again, right? I think some of you have been typing the stocks in the chat. My apologies, guys. All right, that we cannot cover all the stocks, but I see a few familiar names, so I thought why not just go to do one more round, guys. And at the end, we share with you guys 3 stocks that you want to put in your watch list. Okay, so we have Styler over here. I think Styler, very familiar name. We probably have I think assisted you previously as well. All right, so let me go ahead to share my screen and let's talk about Parkway Live Reit. Parkway Live Reit. So I think Styler, you're saying that the purchase at below 380 average. Wow, great. All right, below 380 means let's say 370, 360 around here a few months back. Good. Sold 1/3 of the holdings. All right, 405 to 420. Very good. Take some profit along the way. Nothing wrong. Should I continue to take more profits? Okay, so I'm good that you have taken some profits, right? But now the question is that should you take more profits? Then it all boils down to the question whereby can it hit even higher lah? All right, if it can hit even higher, then maybe don't take so much. Let it go up, then take, then you can make more profits. All right, so that will be the question. So let's find out what has happened. So you can see that for Parkway Live Reit, well, the longer term trend is up. Look at the red and blue line, red above the blue, both pointing up. The short term trend was down in October. We got a bearish signal, down we go. So we want to wait for a reversal. We want to wait for stabilization. We want to wait for new bullish signal to come out. So yes, it came out in November, about January, came out in February, March came out as well. There we go. So let's take a look at, should you be, maybe allowing it to hit up a little bit more to maybe take some profit? Wow, so good that you have got in at a pretty cheap, attractive price. But now, I would say right now, we maybe would see a support around the $4.20. So quite good because this 420, right, since last year, September, we actually have been consolidating below it. Look at this pretty bearish candle right here. Very firm resistance, and we start going down. Now, we hit it there last week, and over the past few days, right? In fact, yesterday, we actually attempted to break above. Oh, there was a pretty good bullish candlestick bar. Look at this, right? Open, all the way up. It closes right at a high, something like what we call a bullish Maru Bozu pattern, all right? And today, the market is weakened, but you can see it is still holding quite well above the $4.20 level. So I think still okay. I think if we can stay above the 420, right? I mean, there's no bearish signal. We got this bullish, it's still going up. I can turn on the trailing support line to see what has happened. You can see this trailing support, the follow. Now we are pushing out and following it a bit more. All right. And there's still some space. In fact, the trailing support is about $4. All right. So if it stays above $4, still okay. If you want it to even tighter, then 420 would be where we have broken up, right? Resistance turn to a new support level. So we stay above 420, or maybe best above, 420 would be the best, all right? But even above $4, that whereby space is given, I still think it looks pretty okay. The uptrend would still be intact. Targets could be revised. Let's see, right? You can project, a little bit of the projection based on the consolidation rate. So it seems like to do what we call a 30 to 30 cents range, right? Look at this, about 30 cents, about a 30 cents range. So you could kind of extrapolate maybe all the way to $4.50, right? Yeah, 450. So maybe near 450, that's where potentially some selling can happen. Again, you might want to take some profit near there, let it consolidate. I mean, if you do see a bearish signal, then probably to get out. All right, Ken. So I hope, Styler, that has helped you a little bit. All right, on Parkway Live Reit. And just want to share with you guys one thing. I think some of you are asking, regarding this 1GT Pro indicator that we have, right? So I want to share with you guys, we actually have a free trial for it for the 1GT Lite indicator. So what we are using is the 1GT Pro, whereby you can see there's quite a lot of features, pump. If I turn on everything, it will look like a mess, all right? But we're not going to do that, right? Essentially, these are all the advanced features of the 1GT Pro indicator. But if you want to test drive the Lite version, right, the simpler version, the version whereby you can just turn on the buy and sell signals, right? No advanced stuff. Then just check out the link in the chat, right? Click on it. We do have a 14 days free trial to this 1GT Lite indicator, a simpler Lite version that just, you can see the buy and sell signals, no trailing support, no advanced stuff. Check it out. The link is right in the chat to test drive this. Click on the link and you'll come to this page right over here. The most incredible free gift ever in the stock market. Not just in the stock market, I say you can turn it on any asset classes, not just stocks, right? Not just your DBS or UOB or your, whatever stock, right? Even for any asset classes like Forex, or Bitcoin, a gold, silver, whatever, right? It can turn it on. You get an opinion in seconds. So that is the link in the chat. You can come to this page, read more about it. you get over $3,997 worth of pure money making information for free just for test driving it, right? So that's a link, guys. If you want to find out a bit more, you can test drive our 1GD light indicator. Of course, if you want to find out a bit more on the entire strategy, the one good trend strategy, all right, how it all works and all that, well, then I think it's better to attend a free webinar, all right? And maybe you could have access to the pro version whereby we'll share more in the webinar. All right. Okay. Very good. So let me pass on the mic to Bervyn to cover the last stock, right? Before we move on to all the bonus stock for today.
Thanks, Joey. Okay, I think let's do one more read there. I think Eric is asking for A17U. I believe there is a CapitaLand Ascendas read. Okay, so I think very clearly we see in the last 2 weeks, there was some bullish up moves. The 20 days moving average has started to firm up its position slightly under that $2.65 support at this point. So let me just change this to a green color support. Okay, so then now we have that 20 days moving average pointing up and that 100 days moving average also pointing up, but they haven't just crossed above that 200 days moving average just yet. So this could be a sign, a very initial sign of an uptrend or reversal into an uptrend for the REITs. All right, okay, so if you are looking to buy, Eric, I think definitely you're trying to buy closer to a support, right? So if you're trying to buy closer towards a support, just slightly above that 265 level, perhaps maybe to the 268, 269 level, if that's where you want to be alerted. If prices head towards that level, you can potentially give yourself like a window to actually enter this purchase as well. I think the immediate resistance would be around that 280 level, where previously somewhere in early of 2024, prices have arrived at this level. Previously was a bit of a consolidation at this level. It broke up for a while, headed towards that 290 level, did not manage to hold, came back down to this level, broken it, and right now it is back to a resistance, that 280 level. So we obviously have two 1GT bullish signals that are still playing out. So this is a good sign. This is a good sign there could be further upside as well. So maybe if prices is able to push higher, break above that 280 level, and we can see another 1GT bullish signal that could maybe perhaps be likely somewhere around here. You may see the same signal, which is a good sign. Maybe can head towards that 290. So I think it's a good recovery. So far, it looks like the initial signs of the recovery is looking good, but let's just roughly see where is the trailing support. So if you are currently holding onto this position for CapitaLand Ascendas REITs, where would you place your stop loss? I think there are two possible places to place your stop loss. I think very mainly would be under that trailing support around maybe that 254, 255 level. Maybe that's where you want to place your support at this point. Or alternatively, you could also place it lower than that. But I think depending on your risk appetite and your time horizon of this purchase, perhaps there could be some changes there as well. Yep. So I think for CapitaLand Ascendas REIT, it looks like it's a good initial recovery. Place some alerts closer to that support level and maybe above that 280 level to let yourself know where could that stock potentially be headed to as well and be alerted towards it. All right. Okay. So I'm going to pass the time now to Z to maybe cover the last one. Then I think Joey will take over. Yeah.
Okay, can. No problem. Thanks, Bervyn. Okay, let me just share my screen very quickly. Okay, I think this would be the last stock, and that would be the number 18 stock. 18 also around a nice number. Okay, so let's just do the last stock for today, and I think it's by Esther, right? So Esther is actually saying she bought Genting at high price. Is it okay to continue to hold? Let's take a look at Genting, okay? So the thing is that usually I don't put my chart so far one, because the thing is that, Esther, you said you bought at a high price. I don't know which high are you talking about, because there is one high here, there's another high here, there's also another high here. But of course, if you bought at this very first initial high, I really hope that you already have some, you didn't continue hold all the way your entire full position to where you are at. Like, I hope that, somewhere along the way you actually reduce some exposure, because if you have really indeed bought at a high here to where we are at now, this is it has dropped to about, more than 30% already, right, for this particular stock for Genting. So the thing is that we can see that, price have all these red color lines right now is actually a resistance because price is 73 cents, right? All these levels are higher than this, so it's currently a resistance. But previously it was actually a support level, right? So Esther, the thing that I want to bring across to you today, right, is that if price have consistently been breaking support level, right, and the support level has turned to become a resistance, it's not a good sign. It's not a good sign because that will mean that, there is more selling pressure for this particular stock. That's why it keeps breaking a support, keeps breaking a support again and again and again. And that is not so great, right? And if we take a look closer to where we are at now, over the past couple of months, right over here. And if we just purely take a look at the trend itself, right, which is the moving averages. We always talk about moving averages, which is the trend, right? We see that the blue is above the red and above the green. And that is not so good, right? Because that means that the downtrend is actually intact, right? The downtrend is actually intact, and we don't want to buy when the downtrend is actually intact, right? And when you are already holding a stock and you know that the downtrend is intact, that is where you want to do something about it. You don't just want to ignore it and then hoping that, the price will actually rebound, right? Because we don't know how low the price can actually go, right? It can be cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, right? So we want to have a plan. So now, what happens to the level now based on the price, right? So now we can see that right over here at this 70 cents level, this seems to be the immediate support level that we might want to actually take note of, right? This 70 cents level, because this is where we saw that, price actually rebounded from this level, right somewhere in the start of March, right over here, right? And the resistance level could be somewhere near this 775, maybe even 780, right? This level right over here. This could be the resistance level because we can see right over here, price actually tested it like a couple of times, right? And selling pressure came back in, and we also see 1GT bearish signal. So in terms of the immediate support and resistance level, perhaps these are the two levels that you might want to take note, right? Because if price were to unable to hold above these 70 cents, right, then potentially, do you agree that, we might see more weakness and prices might hit even lower because the longer term trend, we see that this red and the blue line is actually still pointing down, right? It's still pointing down. So the thing is that we want to actually see price being able to break and hold above 78 cents, which is the resistance. That's one thing, right? That's one thing. But the second thing that we also want to take note of is that the longer term trend, which is the 100 and 200 days moving average, at least you don't want it to point down anymore, right? You want to at least for it to go sideways first, right? So for Esther, if you are still holding on, I'm not too sure where you actually bought it, but I do hope that you actually have a stop loss plan in place, or at least consider to reduce some exposure, right, for this particular stock. Okay, so that would be for Genting Sing. So yeah, back over to you, Joey.
Okay, thank you so much. I think Z mentioned a really, really good point. All right, whereby if the trend is down in the longer term, right, for past 1 year, 2 years, moving averages are pointing down, then you definitely want to be careful. You don't just want to hold on to it blindly. All right. So, in fact, this is Genting Sing is pretty much the opposite from the bonus stock, the first bonus stock I like to share, all right, whereby you can see now the red and blue line is not going down and down, it's actually going up. It's pretty much opposite. So we are actually in an uptrend, all right, for this first bonus stock that I'd like to share, and that would be Singtel. I know a lot of you have asked about Singtel, so I was like, Lam, I think you're asking about it, right? Singtel, good, take some profit. Many of you asking about Singtel as well, so I thought, yeah, that is pretty much what I want to cover. So yeah, finally here it goes. If you've been asking about it and I did not cover it, well, there we go. I thought to save it at the end because anyway, I'll be covering this bonus stock that looks pretty okay, all right? And just one thing, guys. I mean, before we will talk about these three stocks and I dive into Singtel in details, right? These are some of the bonus stocks that we actually share. I mean, basically, if you are not yet a VIP client under me in Phillip Securities, all right? I mean, you need a trading account to trade, right? So if you have a trading account in Singapore, you need to buy and sell stocks. But if you don't get any ideas or service or videos or training or WhatsApp from your broker, I mean, I don't know whether there's a real person there, but if you don't get any service at all, nobody send you any ideas and stuff, please check it out, how you can become a VIP client of mine in Phillip Securities for free. Because some of those stocks that we talk about, in fact, some of those that you guys asked as well, like the REITs, right? We actually send out on a daily basis, all right, by WhatsApp for free, right? Some of our top Singapore ideas, all right, with a chart, with a little description. We send it to our VIP clients for Philip Securities, in Philip Securities for free, all right? So you do not pay anything more. It's pretty much the same as whatever you're paying when you're trading, right? So if you're not getting any service from your broker, no idea, no video, nobody contact you, nobody WhatsApp you, just like a hotline, you gotta call and then, just log in and then to your platform and then also to know what's happening. Check it out, right? The link is in the chat. Find out how you can get some of those top ideas for free under me and my team in Philip Securities, right? Absolutely free. You do not pay anything more. Same as whatever you pay. Does it make sense? All right. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on right now to this stock, the very first bonus stock that has been in my watch list. I think I got my team to send out a note on WhatsApp as well, a couple of days back or last week or something, right? And price now 3.55. So you can see longer term trend is up, red above the blue. In fact, since last year, we had a bullish signal in May, pump, right? Start to push up all the way up. We got a bearish signal, about 37% in about 4 or 5 months. Okay, all right. And we got a bearish signal, and maybe this went sideways, a bit boring, right? The green 20 days moving average line started to go sideways, pump. A new bullish signal came out in January, right? And there we have it. We have another confirmation from the green 20 days moving average line that was going sideways and boring, finally turning up and excited and bullish, right? So it starts to go up. So let's find out what has happened over the past, few days, as to why it has came into my attention again. Well, essentially, it went up, right, from the February to March, but we actually saw a bit of a resistance right over here, right, somewhere around the $3.45 level. Look at it, right? Came down and nearly came down. A bit boring also the past 2 months, right? And it was before all these tariffs and all this Donald Trump stuff, right? But over the past week, you see we actually went above, right? So this bullish signal is still in play. We went up, and we broke above the 345 to 350 level. Now it's what price? Now it's 3.55, right? Which is above 345 to above 350. Does it make sense? All right, so I think it looks quite okay. This would now be a new support level. We can draw it green in color. I think 345 would now be a new support level. Also where the 20 days moving average, the green line is. So as long as you stay above 345 or 350, right, I think it still looks pretty good, right? That is where we could see potentially more upside momentum all the way to perhaps this target. So I think maybe a bit of resistance at 3.65. That was actually where we headed to this morning. I mean, it was still quite bullish this morning, but then the market started to sell down more, so people also started to take some profit, right? And came down to 365, maybe a bit of resistance, right? So 345 to $3.65. That could be kind of like the range. And if I can quickly turn on the trailing support line to see what it says. So we've got a first bullish signal right here in January. There we go. A trailing support pops up, follow, flat, follow, flat, follow. We are right over here. So we're still obviously above the trailing support. There's some space, all right, in between. Why? Because I say trailing support, give it space, right? You got space, so it's a bit lower, right? So you can see trailing support maybe around the 335, but when I draw this, it was 345, which is slightly higher, because when I draw it, it was more like a horizontal support, a trailing support that accounts for the volatility, that accounts for the space, the breathing space, right? Slightly lower, all right? So you can see anything above 335 to 345, hopefully even better. That's where the uptrend or the upside momentum still looks pretty intact. All right, so that would be my first bonus stock that I've just shared with VIP clients of mine in Philip Securities. Just want to cover it again, all right, because today we're doing our AMAS live session. All right, and yeah, pretty much Singtel, right? Code is Z74, right? So let me pass on the mic to Bervyn to cover his favorite stock you might want to put in your watch list as well. Bervyn, all yours?
Thanks, Joey. Okay, so I think my bonus stock for this week would be this company. I think needs no introduction. It is Sembcorp Industry. Okay, I think Sembcorp had shown quite a few signs of bullishness. That's why it came into our watch list as well. I think very firstly is prices had managed to break above that $6 level. $6 level that it has been kept under is pretty much since at the nearest point it went to test, there was somewhere in August 2023. It had finally broke above this $6 level towards the end of February right here and hit a bit higher, came back down, tested it, and then pushed higher again. So I would say this $6 level had just formed as a new support, a new higher base where prices can push off and potentially hit higher as well. So we also have what we call 2-1 GT bullish signal with the most recent one just 2 days ago. Previously we saw 1 GT bearish signal, prices headed down a little bit and then prices pushed higher again. So I think it is a start of potentially a new phase for Semcom industry where potentially that $7 psychological level would be my first target as of now. But if we were to let me just turn on these trailing support lines. These trailing support lines show that that key level to watch out for is close to that $6 level. And with that right here on this day where prices actually came down, tested that trailing support, broke below, you may have seen a 1 GT bearish signal, but because prices closed above that trailing support, we managed to, that 1 GT bearish signal did not stay on or did not remain valid, and that's why it is no longer there as well. So I think a few more bullish signals that could be spotted, I think very basically would be there. 20 days moving average is still looking good at this point. That 100 days, 200 days moving average gradually already starting to slope up a little bit more steeply now. I would say the gradient is a little bit more steep at this point. So all signs are pointing to the counter potentially being able to push higher. And amidst like all these tariffs and everything, the counter is still holding in a rather stable state as well. And eventually we could see maybe a little bit of a sellers or a little bit of consolidation under that $7 level, where potentially if it breaks above, great, then I think there could be a higher support right there. But if you are looking to get in or you're looking to put this counter on watch list, I think the buy zone for now would remain between that, perhaps that $6 to that 6.10 level. I think it's a good level to actually monitor, to actually set up some alerts. So I have a few alerts set up. I have an alert set up if prices break above that $7 level, and if prices head towards that 6 to 6.10 level, so potentially to be able to time another entry as well. All right, but of course with that prices being above that $6 previously, it being kept under that $6 previously, we want to be a bit more careful if that $6 level isn't being able to hold. We want the uptrend to continue, not just a temporary uptrend and then we see the $6 broken again, prices go back down to $5. No. So I think we also have to set a few alerts below that $6 level to let us know that if prices break below this level, that a stop loss level or a stop limit order should be in place as well. Okay, so that is my bonus stock, Semcom Industries. Still looking not too bad at this point. Still will continue to be on our watch list as well. So maybe Z, can you bring us through, I think, the largely anticipated stock for today?
All right, thanks, Bervyn. Okay, let me just share my screen very quickly over here. Okay, so the bonus stock that I'll be sharing today will be ST Engineering, right? So actually just now you saw quite a lot of comments. Some of you guys were asking about ST Engineering, but no choice, I will save it all the way to the last, right? And I hope you guys are actually still here to listen to it, okay? So okay, let me just show some of the comments for ST Engineering. So Andy is actually asking, for ST Engineering, what's the target price? What's the short term looking like, right? Ginny is also asking about ST Engineering. Esther is asking, on the flip side, perhaps you already have some position. When is it time to take some profits, right? And then Jinglong is actually asking when to buy. So people are asking about when to buy, when to sell, when to take profits, right? So let me just cover both sides, all right? So that you have a better picture about this particular stock, all right? So let's take a look at ST Engineering. I mean, for the first half of the year, I don't need to talk about it really because it's very clear, right? Everybody can see that the stock is pretty much in an uptrend, and the action really started somewhere in March, right? And this is where we had our first 1 GT bullish signal out on the 23rd of January. So let me just see. from 21st of January, the first 1GT bullish signal to where we are at now, it has been about a 42% increase in price, right? So if you have gotten in, prior to this 1GT or somewhere near here, right, you're already in the green, right? About 42% in profits, right? So that being said, right, do remember to actually take some profits along the way. Don't be greedy, okay? Because I mean, you're already in the green. Do take some profits, take the money and put in your pocket first, right? So okay, so let's take a look at the trend, right? So for now, I mean, very clearly, all of the moving averages, green, red, and blue, all three are all heading up, right? All heading up. And these are some of the levels that we have also drawn in our previous Ask Me Any Stock session. And by the way, for those who are new, this ST Engineering stock has been covered since a couple of sessions for I think since January, right? Probably since January or February. This is where we actually first covered this ST Engineering stock, and prices have continued going up, right? And this is the reason why it's actually still in our watch list, and we are still closely monitoring this particular stock, right? So as of now, price is actually trading at the 670, right? Because this is live, as you guys can tell. And over here, this 630 level, right, it's actually one of the support level, that the immediate support level that we have drawn. Why? Because previously we can see that right over here on this candle, right, right over here, it had a very long upper shadow. And what this means that selling pressure back then was actually present here, right? And prices is unable to break above it. So at this point in time, this 630 level was actually a resistance, right? Eventually, price managed to break above it, right? Price managed to break above it. But right over here, we actually see what? The flip side, right? We have a long lower shadow. And when this actually happens near this level, what does this mean? It means that buying pressure is present now. So this 630 has actually changed from a resistance level back over here, resistance, to become what we call a support. So I would say 630 for now would actually be the immediate support level to take note, right? And in terms of resistance, it'll be somewhere close to this $7 psychological level, right? Because this is where we actually see price actually nearly, like, didn't even touch it, right? Somewhere about 690 plus, right? Prices actually started to pull back, right? Selling pressure came back in, pushed prices back down, but it didn't push back all the way to 630, right? As of now, we actually see, price actually managed to hold above this level right over here, this 650, right? So perhaps what we may see over the next couple of days or weeks, right, is that if price manage to, do something like that and hold above this 650, then we may find a new higher support. So the 630 support could be actually shifted up to 650, right? But for now, because we want to have more confirmation that this 650 is indeed a new higher support first before we actually shift it up, right? Okay, so in terms of those who are thinking of selling, right? So you already have a position in ST Engineering. Where can you potentially, take some profits at? I would say definitely near the resistance. That's one over here, because like we always mention, you want to take profits near a resistance level, right? So somewhere around this, like close to this $7, this is where you can actually take some partial profits, right? Or you want to take full profits, that is also fine, because like what I've mentioned, right, price from here to here has already increased by about close to 45%. So that is a very great increase, right, for like, in a couple of months. So but if those who do not want to actually take profits, what can you potentially do, right? One way that you can potentially do is to actually make use of this 1GT Pro indicator, the trailing support and resistance, right? So you can actually turn this on. So basically when you turn this on, right, this green shaded area will actually come out, and this is what Joey and Bervyn actually showed you guys earlier on, right? So this trailing support and resistance, like what Bervyn and Joey mentioned earlier on, it takes into the stock's volatility, right? It accounts for the stock volatility, giving it room to breathe. So for those of you who maybe don't want to take profits at $7 and you think that maybe price can actually go out even higher, right? What can you potentially do? What's the next best course of action that you can take, right? You can actually protect your profits. The key thing is to protect your profits, because you don't want your profits suddenly become losses, right? So the best way, or one way that you can potentially consider, is to actually set your stop limit order slightly below, right? Slightly below the trailing support level, which is over here, right? So in that sense, if you have gotten somewhere, somewhere over here, let's just say maybe you have gotten somewhere here, even if you set your stop limit order right over here, and prices were to suddenly reverse, you will still get out with a 26% profit. Does that sound okay? That I think to me that will sound okay lah, because even if prices were to reverse, you still lock in a 26% profit, right? So the key thing is to always remember to actually protect your profits. And one way that you can do that to make use of this 1 GT Pro indicator effectively is to make use of this trailing support and resistance. Okay, and okay, so that would be for the those people, right, who actually have a position and you're thinking of selling, right? But what about for those who are actually thinking of getting into this counter, right? Thinking of getting into this counter. So like we mentioned, when the stock is in an uptrend, you want to buy near a support, right? So at this point in time, the best support, immediate support level that we can actually take note of is somewhere at this 630, right? Which I've mentioned earlier on. So this is a level that we can potentially position ourselves for entry as well, right? Because this would be the support zone. This is the support zone. But of course, I mean, along the way, like I've mentioned, if the next couple of weeks we actually see price consolidate even higher and it managed to find a support near this 650, right? If let's say like something like that, if it managed to find a new higher support about 650, then that's where we will actually shift it up, right? We can actually shift our support zone up to this level. Okay, so yeah, like I've mentioned, these are some of the levels that maybe you might want to take note of for those who are thinking of buying, for those who are thinking of selling. So at the 630 level at this point in time would be the support. In terms of the resistance, definitely near the psychological $7. And remember, for those who are already having a position, remember to always protect your profits. Okay, so that would be from me for ST Engineering. And it's definitely still in my watch list. And I will pass the time back over to Joey to perhaps maybe close off today's session.
All right, thank you so much, Z. All right, thank you so much. So, guys, that's it. I think we have pretty much gone on for more than 2 hours. All right, let me just go to cover very quickly what are the stocks we have gone through. So, if you miss any, you just join us. All right, well, essentially, you can check out the replay as well. All right, so we have covered the markets, the S&P 500 index, the STI. All right. Sets, Comfortdelgo, Yangzijiang Shipbuilding, the 3 banks, OCBC, DBS, UOB, all right? Yangzijiang Financial Holdings, Centurion, Wehe, Seatrium, Valuetronics, Food Empire, Hong Leong Asia, IFAST, CaplandInvest, Parkway, Reit, Capland, Ascendas, Reit, Genting, Singapore. And the final 3 bonus stock, that would be Singtel by me, Sembcorp Industry, and Z just covered ST Engineering, right? How many of you found value in today's session? Just type V for value, guys. Type V for value. If you found value, especially if we have covered your stock, right? Let me know. Type V for value. Let's see, all right? Thank you so much, Sir Leong. Thank you. Thanks, Esther. Grace, type V for value, guys. If you got value, especially if you have covered your stock, or maybe you found the 3 bonus stock at the end useful as well. V, thank you. Dave, thank you so much. Xing Leong, Doris. Hi, Chi Sing. Thank you. All right, B. Okay, very good. So, guys, I think we have come to the end of today's session. Ask Me Any Stock Singapore session. So, next Friday will be the US market. All right, the US market. So, we'll just place the link in the chat. So, if you have not yet set a reminder, click on the link, join us for next Friday Ask Me Any Stock session for the US market. The link is in the chat, right? The link is in the chat, all right? And one thing I want to share with you guys as well, right? So today, as I say, we don't have time to cover like, all the, the strategy and every single feature of a One Good Trend Pro indicator, right? So if you want to find out a bit more on the entire strategy, perhaps how you could do it like us, how you could just type the name of any stock, whether it's Singtel or ST Engineering or any of the stocks that you want, right? Type the name, get an opinion in seconds, do our analysis like what we did, all right? Check it out, attend one of those free webinars, right? I'll just place the link in the chat one more time. Click on the link, register for a free webinar, and I look forward to sharing with you guys a bit more on how perhaps you could have access to this 1 GT Pro indicator as well, and understand a bit more on the entire One Good Trend strategy, all right? So Joey here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us for more than 2 hours now. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you guys. All right, take care. Bye-bye. All right, click on the link to attend a free webinar, and we'll see you guys next Friday as well. All right, take care. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.